Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, or whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bill Crane Report's on the air with my friend Dwayne Weiss.
Hello, everybody.
And we are here to give you our spin on not only the news, but what's going on in the country, in the world,
What's not going on?
what's not going on, and
Who's being nice to who and who's not being so nice to who?
there's a lot of that going around too. But I thought that, I'm sure there's a few of you remember that I used to write for the Norfolk Boomerang newspaper, and I loved doing editorials.
Yep.
So I have an editorial to start off with.
There you go.
Man alive. And it's entitled, there's no title to it.
Fill in the blank.
Fill in the blanks. The more Elizabeth Warren talks, the weaker her candidacy becomes. She can't stand up and face the fire like President Trump does. She's got the same problem that defeated Hillary Clinton. She cannot talk to Joe Sixpack one-on-one.
Nope.
Cannot wade into a crowd. Now, she will say, oh, but look at the town meetings I have up in New Hampshire or out in Iowa where I talk to the people.
Yep.
Those people are on the Democratic town committees. And they are handed a piece of paper and it says on it the question that you're allowed to ask her.
That's right. You can't ad-lib anything.
Can't ad-lib anything. President Trump, I'm not defending President Trump when he's wrong, when he's right, or anything else. I'm just pointing out the bleeding obvious. And when he goes on a trip, on the plane, the reporters are there yelling at him. He stops and he answers the questions. And he doesn't look at notes. He doesn't turn to aides and say, what was that all about? Or
I'll check
help
on
me
and
with
get back
that."
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does it.
Answers
He does that
the
well.
questions straight up. Now, Elizabeth Warren can't do it. She can't think on her feet. And Hillary Clinton was totally unable to do it.
Yeah.
And I also think there was a lot of Hillary Clinton's thinking was, I don't want to be with the unwashed.
Yeah, there was a certain elitist there.
And the miserable. I want to talk to the elected officials here in this state or, college professors or something like that. So she's going to have the same problem when she gets out on the stump and they start flinging questions at her left and right. She's going to go, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's it. Some editorial, huh?
Well, it's good. But what else she's learned now, I think. She's trying to be something to everybody that she talks to. She is on their side. She can have a group on Monday that's for A and opposed to B, and on Thursday she's talking to B, she's opposed to A. She just switch. I remember earlier in a campaign when she went to West Virginia and talked about the evils of coal.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
You idiot. About 1 in 3 people in this state are employed by the coal industry, and you're rapping on the coal business.
Later on in this editorial, I'm going to help the Democrats.
Good.
I'm going to give them a tip.
God, they need somebody.
Boy.
That group, I don't know. Somebody said, I don't know what. Somebody said, well, you might as well FedEx Trump the election with that group.
Would that it were. Her plans are far-fetched and so disastrously expensive, they become a game of smoke and mirrors. You notice she floats the ideas out and somebody says, well, wait a minute, how much is this going to cost? And she said, oh, it's time to go home and feed the dog.
Yeah.
Or
we'll tax the rich. That's
yeah. No, tax the rich. Yeah.
Tax the rich.
That's always good. And at 70 years of age, she's old news. She's a one-trick pony. All she knows is destroy big companies and bankrupt the rich.
Yep.
That's it. Those are the two things that woman espouses. She's had serious problems with the truth. I mean, her heritage, her pregnancy, the forms that she filled out at Harvard claiming she was an Indian. She is a screech machine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, she's a major league turnoff when she starts that. She's every school teacher you hated.
That's a good way of putting it. And then some.
And then some.
Good Lord.
She will be forced to walk back her promise to stop fracking by executive order.
Yep.
This will destroy the economy and usher in a depression of major league proportion. There's going to be sane people. I think there's 4 of them left in the Democratic Party in total. Mm-hmm. But they're going to get to her and they're going to say, Granny, you can't do this.
Yep.
And she's going to have to back off it. If she had, and here's my hint of help for the Democratic Party, all you Democrats, I think there's 2 of you in Norfolk, get your pencil and paper out and write this down. She had 1 ounce of a brain left. She would propose significant wellhead taxes on the frackers, and with the money ticketed towards saving Social Security and Medicare. So there's your tip, folks. That's how to walk back her business on fracking. She's not going to be able to stop it, so profit by it.
Nor should she try to stop it.
No.
As of probably last week or two, the statistics showed that 10% of the world's oil production right now is coming out of shale and fracking. And if she said one of the first acts of the first day when she's in office, she's going to ban it right then. We're going to shut off fracking and shale work. Boom, right there. Do you have any idea what 10% reduction in the oil production of the world would do to the world economy?
Well, the world economy, everybody would be hurting. The Saudis would pump more oil. The Russians would pump more oil.
Yeah, but it would catch up for a while. But
that's right.
I mean, in the meantime, you'd be back with the gas lines. You'd be back with people trying to get fuel oil for their house, everything.
You know, that's it, folks. Think back to the 60s and in the early 70s and the gas lines, okay? Mm-hmm. When the oil embargo was placed on us by OPEC, all right? That's what's going to happen. And gas is right now, I paid $2.35 or $6 the other day when I gassed up. By the way, that's 25% below the national average of $2.60. I don't understand how we can possibly, in this state, be below the national average.
I don't either.
But we're comfortably below it. But here's what's going to happen. We are not going to have the shale oil. Okay? So what's going to happen? We're going to send an SOS across the pond to the Saudis and the other oil producers, and they are going to have to send massive amounts of oil to the U.S., and the price will be $6 or $7 a gallon.
Oh, it'll skyrocket.
For gasoline. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Heating oil. In this state, the preponderance of people heat with oil. And when George E. Cronin and all the other peddlers are peddling fuel oil at $6 or $7 a gallon, think what that's going to do to your budget.
I remember when it was $4 something. Folks. I remember when it was $4 and something.
Oh, I know.
They would back in and said, "Oh my God, you know."
We went about $4 for gas.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Here's $800 just going right down that little tube.
And people were screaming.
Yep.
Also, the inability to connect with Joe Sixpack, or to carry it a step further, the inability to even attempt to talk to Joe Sixpack, eliminates any inroads she's planning on making with blue-collar workers. She's stuck with her base of college professors, symphony musicians, directors of art museums, and other assorted groups of layabouts and other impractical losers. So she's got two choices. Either wake up
Yeah.
and moderate her Looney Tune views, or else keep talking and lose the election.
Well, her plans are that is her. She says,
Her mantra.
"Yeah, that's I have a plan for that, and I have a plan for that, and I have a plan for this." Regardless how ridiculous they are, she still that's her mantra. I guess that's her,
Yeah.
that is her base.
But you see what happened, though, is this crappy system they have of 59 combatants on for the in the debate.
Yep.
No one is able to say to a senator, put up or shut up.
Yeah,
Tell us how you're going to pay for this.
It's not a real debate.
And go down by the numbers. Where does the money come from? If you take it from the rich in a huge tax, wealth tax, after 1 year, that's it. You're back to zero again.
Oh, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
first of all, let's for sake of speaking here, what is the rich? She's got implied now it's 50 million because it's always some level higher than she is. You know, it used to be millionaires. They always say, well, millionaires. And now it's billionaires because somebody pointed out that she and her husband are millionaires. Oh, well, I mean billionaires.
Yeah.
And so she, you know, if it's 10 million and she's worth 10, then she wants to do it for 40 or then way up. Never anything that affects her.
Yeah.
And then, too, if you are, let's say, ultra rich, you're not stupid. You've got a lot of resources. You might have taxed them once. Quite. You're not going to do it again.
Fool me once. Shame on you.
Their
Fool
accountants
me
and
twice.
their attorneys are
Shame
going to
on
be
me.
burying whatever loophole, whatever reason that you got the revenue from in the first place. You're not going to do it again.
No way in hell. So all of this is not going to work.
No, it doesn't.
So what happens then? Then it becomes a problem, and they become desperate. So now we're going to have all sorts of things flying off the wall. How are we going to make up this money? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? It ain't going to happen. Now we at the stock market, I hate to say this, but the stock market will drop by 50%.
Oh, absolutely. Every time she says we're going to break up this company and break up that company, it gets everybody jittery because, again, she puts out that idea that a company is some kind of evil entity all unto itself. A corporation is nothing more than a group of people that got together and said, I like that company. I'm going to buy some shares. I'm going to buy into it. Bill owns shares. I own shares. Most all of you own some kind of share. It's not some evil empire from Star Wars. It's everybody. When you say, well, say, General Motors, who's General Motors? General Motors is hundreds of thousands of stockholders across the country. If you got any kind of investment, you probably got.
And a labor force.
Yeah, and a labor force.
And a executive department that guides this whole thing. It is not some evil empire.
No.
And this is what they're trying to.
What I'm waiting for, and you never get this on those debates because they don't let you go on to individuals like that. Elizabeth Warren, at one time, was the head of the legal department of Dow Chemical, and she represented Dow Chemical back 20 or 30 years ago when these people were getting sick from Dow Chemical products and trying to sue Dow. She represented Dow, and she was against the people that were coming in.
Dwayne, I never heard of that before.
But they won't allow you on those debates to say, well, Mrs. Warren, what about your years at Dow that you were the head of the legal department?
Yeah. Well,
when you represented Dow against all these poor people that got hurt by some chemical.
Yeah. Oh, in Bhopal.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Dow or was it Union
No, that was
Carbide?
Union Carbide.
Okay. Yeah, well, listen, I never knew that. But I'll tell you what, we'll talk about it next time.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'll go on the internet and find out what I can find out about this. This is the kind of stuff that people need to know about. I mean, you can't all of a sudden say, I'm a Yankee and I wear pinstripes and I'm going to play right field. And don't bring up the fact that I played for the Red Sox.
That's right.
Yeah. People don't need to know that. We have global warming, yet there is a mass migration to the south, to Florida, Texas, Tennessee, North, South Carolina, Alabama. With the temps going up and the oceans rising, they're rushing to the south to seacoasts. Isn't this counterintuitive? Won't power consumption go sky high, running all those air conditioners? Not only more of them, but bigger ones also.
Yeah.
I mean, they're running away from taxes in the Northeast, and they're going to go down and pay bigger power costs in the South. Now, the costs for power in the South right now are low, but when you start adding lots and lots of more people,
Yeah.
costs have got to go up. One more thing in my list of stuff to talk about. Tommy Tuberville was a football coach in college. He coached LSU at one time.
Okay.
Very successful guy. He is running for the U.S. Senate in Alabama after that mess where they had runoffs and a Democrat snuck in because two Republicans butted heads.
Yes.
So before we get piling on from the radical party demonizing him for his background as a successful football coach, let's examine this. A coach must be a leader of men, a strategist, an organizer, a man capable of a high level of multitasking. He must be aggressive and a take charge type of guy and be very bright. That's a hell of a lot more compelling than being a college professor.
True.
So, to all of our friends in Alabama that tune in all the time, go out and vote early and vote often for Tommy Tuberville.
Just like they used to do in, was that Cook County?
South Boston.
Or South Boston, too.
Now, I got a couple of shout-outs here. Let's kind of get up on some news. Do you know that this past weekend was John Cleese's 80th birthday?
I saw that in the Globe, this day in history.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yep.
Now, I'll always think of John Cleese as the madcap Mr. Faulty in Faulty Towers racing about. I'll always think of him as a 40-year-old nutcake.
Oh, me too.
I can't conceive of him being 80, which...
No, it's you look at, I read that just
Yeah.
every day. I just look down to see whose birthday. They have, three-quarters of them I never heard of.
Yeah, I know, me
But
too.
all of a sudden you go, he's that old already?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's amazing. But what's even more amazing is I'm going to be 79 very shortly. So I'm
we're in that
tagging
same
right
group,
along.
yeah.
Yeah. Ay, ay, ay. CNN had a very interesting poll. Now, it was conducted on October 17th through the 20th, or roughly a week and a half ago.
Okay.
Now, every poll, well, let's put it this way, every news story about Elizabeth Warren leads off with Elizabeth Warren leading the Democratic Party, leading all the other combatants, if you will, for the presidency. And so they're trying to sell us
Well, absolutely.
this bag of goods.
The Globe, you get the Herald.
Yep.
I don't, so I don't really know what their climate or their headlines are. But the Globe, particularly, they are a banner line for Elizabeth Warren.
All the way.
All the way. They got her. They endorsed her. They love her. They'll do anything. Never anything negative. Always positive. If it is negative, they'll turn around and spin it into a positive. I mean, I thought, why am I paying 70-some bucks a month for this paper when all I'm getting is Elizabeth Warren
Do you know? I'm over 60, but I don't know, 60 something. I'm going to cancel the Globe again. I can't stand it. But I will say this much, and I'm going to give the devil its due. The last 2 days, the coverage of the assassination of the ISIS #1 guy,
Baghdadi.
yeah, Baghdadi, is very balanced.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. And yesterday's and today's both.
There's a couple of
Straightforward.
Skins, but
Oh, sure.
Not
But-
a lot.
Yeah. But did you happen to catch the news this morning?
No, I only read in the paper in the morning. I don't.
President Trump tweeted the good news that we have terminated the #2 guy in ISIS.
I heard yesterday that they get Baghdadi, but they got a bunch of intelligence, all kinds of intel that now they're going to mount other operations based on that.
Yeah. So they got #2, and now he also mentioned we got a big bag full of intel.
Yeah.
So good for us. So CNN, getting back to my point.
Oh yeah.
CNN.
We never get off point here. We just stay right on
God.
point. We're so disciplined.
CNN conducted a nationwide poll, which they do. Guess what the results were? Biden 34%, Warren 19%, Sanders 16%. So combined, the two socialists are 35 and Biden's 34.
Yeah.
So that's a totally different story as opposed to the leader. Well, if they want to really get squirrely about it, they could say, well, we were talking about the leader in New Hampshire. Okay, yeah, I gotcha. Right.
Yeah. The Globe, they'll quote a survey. It'll come out totally different.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So there was they put Democratic, I forget whether it was the National Committee or whatever. No, it couldn't have been. I forget who the devil it was. But there was a news blurb this morning, too, that Biden is being criticized inside the party as too old, too frail, lacking energy, lacking a message, and I mean, it's like they're following around after him with a shovel in their hand, you know?
But to be fair, we are balanced here.
That's right.
The
Although
Globe,
quite a few people have hinted we're unbalanced.
Oh yeah, I know that too. The Globe actually had something this week that surprised me. It was on the editorial page, and it was called, you probably saw this, Climate Change Shakedown. I thought, oh God, here we go again. And it was written by, believe it or not, somebody was the director of Independent Women's Law Center. I thought, oh boy, this is going to be another one of those conservation law group that don't want any fuels used or anything else. It's not. It's taking them to task for exploiting people like Exxon Mobil. There are 3 states. There was 2, of course. So you can guess who the third one is. We started out with California, bringing in multi-million-dollar suits against these oil companies and fossil fuel companies for the global warming, followed by New York, followed just by, guess who?
Massachusetts?
Yeah, Miss Healy. Gosh, I was so surprised to see her jump into this. And these people here, the editorial says, come on, this is just a shakedown. You can't exist without these people. How are you going to heat your home? How are you going to read your electricity? Everything is geared to these people. You can't just say, that's it, they're bad, goodbye, get rid of them.
All this goes back to the Valdez up in Alaska, and Exxon.
And they're saying here, I wonder what Miss Healy uses, how she gets around. What does she put in her car when she goes out fundraising? Would it be gasoline?
Miss Healy is on the road politicking,
That's
if
what
you
they said.
will, constantly.
Putting gas in her car. My God, how can she do that?
How the hell can she do it? How can she do her job and be all over the country
That's what
at
I'd
the
like to
same
know.
time?
Any of these.
By the way, has anybody noticed something? Because we like to be right on the cutting edge of technology here and feeding you people the information you need.
That's right.
But has anyone noticed that Senator Warren has cut all ties with the state of Massachusetts? She's never here. She has no idea what's going on in this state. She's like a social butterfly, a gadfly. She's over here, she's over there, she's in Los Angeles, she's in St. Louis, she's in New Mexico. But she's not in Massachusetts.
When does she ever be a senator? She's not a senator anymore. She's just a politician now.
Yeah, that's
trying
it.
to get elected.
Yeah. I mean, this is, unbelievable. And we went through the same thing in the last cycle when our Attorney General, Ms. Healy, abandoned her job and was going around the country campaigning for Hillary Clinton. Now, while she was gone, did she say, oh, I just totaled it up, and I was out of the state campaigning for 14 total weeks. So deduct 14 weeks' pay from my pay.
That's what I've often thought,
Yeah.
too.
Do you think she did it?
No.
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 Because you know what she would say? I was thinking about Massachusetts. I was in contact with my office.
I had my cell
I was
phone on.
sketching out a plan. Yeah. By the way, they had a lad on. I love sometimes on Fox Financial. I get this guy that's kind of wacky. He goes out and he interviews people in the street. Some of the answers he gets are great.
Like Waters used to do that.
Yeah.
It was funny.
He asked this kid, so what's something about what are you looking for in a politician? I want somebody that's going to cancel the student debt. Well, who's going to take care of the student debt? Well, it'll be free.
Yep. Oh yeah. There's a.
And so the guy said, but somebody has to pay this. This is a debt that a bank has lent you, or the college has extended you, or a private loan that you got from a loan company or a trust company. Someone's got to pay that off. If you're absolved, who makes everybody else whole? Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, he had a hell of a time with the concept.
Yeah. Oh, they don't have any concept of that at
No.
all.
So then he said it perfectly. I'll let the rich pay it.
Yep. I just saw yesterday or day before one of those studies again that was like almost 60% of the millennials would support a socialistic government, meaning the government is going to pay for everything. When they asked them why, they said, well, we could live for free. We wouldn't have to have anything. It would all be paid for. And they asked them, who would pay for it? Well, the government will pay for it. It's not our money. The government's money would use it. They don't understand that.
That's my money that goes to the government.
There is no such thing as the government money. It's your money.
No such thing as a free lunch.
That's right. Somebody's going to pay for it.
You know, I tell you what. This will perhaps, I don't know. I hope it doesn't dent our sterling reputation.
I don't think that's possible.
Oh, okay. Because there's a certain segment of the population that's not going to like this. But I'll tell you what, I don't know what you school teachers are teaching kids in school. But I tell you, they really get some mighty strange ideas about finance.
Yeah, about the real world.
Yeah, about the real world, about responsibility. I mean, who teaches these kids the free ride?
There is that movement in school, in education, in particular unfortunately, it's very prevalent in the higher education.
Yep.
And you get it's even filtered down now into the state schools. It used to be the Brie and Chablis elite crowd that had this attitude, but it's even filtered down now. And then the professors in the classroom are preaching a climate that is not healthy for the country at all.
No, and not only that, but you have got to write papers that support his position.
That's exactly right.
Or else
Yeah.
you get bad marks.
That's exactly right.
Nobody wants to get C's and D's on
No.
their report card because that stays with you for life. So they want A's, or at worst, A minuses.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to swallow his line, hook, line, and
Absolutely.
sinker, and regurgitate it out. Yeah, it's really bad. All right, well, now we're getting really scattery here, but I get a couple more things here that I want to have shout-outs on. It's good to see Thelma Ravinsky back out. Thelma had a rough time of it there. She wasn't feeling well in the hospital, and
We're glad to see you back, though.
we're glad.
Glad.
There
you go.
Glad to see you back, Thelma, and feisty as ever, I might add. But that was great. Also, Mary Shivers is feeling better, so the report comes my way, and so that's good. Hopefully we can get Mary back, snapping at me again.
Anybody, if you don't know who these two people, these are two sweethearts from the senior center.
Yep.
And if you're of age, and I don't know what seniors are usually considered, what, 50 in this town?
Yeah, 50, but I always figured 60.
60.
But nonetheless.
But if you're 50, if you haven't been to the senior center and taken part in any of those kind of things, you want to try it. There's a lot of nice people. Now, Bill is the president of Friends. We are the financial support. I'm the vice president. We're the financial support. That's why of these senior activities. We recently had a casual lunch. We had very good subs and ice cream, and followed by a rousing game of trivia with prizes, no less.
Yep.
Yeah. What did we give away? 2 Cadillacs and a Jaguar or something like just stuff, you know.
Yeah, a weekend in Haiti.
Yeah. Actually, we get a nice gift cards.
Yeah.
Actually, if you go to
Dunkin'
Donuts,
Donuts.
or we got different places. But everybody has a lot of fun. It's low key. Everybody has made a lot of good friends there.
Yep. And you know, one of the things too that's a real misnomer is I'll say to someone, "Have you ever been to the senior center?" Oh, no, that's for old folks.
Hey, you're looking at one.
Yeah.
My wife was on there for years.
Yep.
She said, "Well, going." I said, "I'm not going over there."
Yeah. It's not a drooling academy.
No, it's not.
No, it is elderly folks that are still alive,
senior.
active,
Just seniors. That's all.
and they're up there and they're having a lot of fun. There's a lot of good friendships being formed up there. They sit around and gab, drink coffee, play board games, talk, and it's a nice atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I'd encourage any of you that are north of 60 or whatever, or retired, to come up and check things out.
Mm-hmm.
Just walk in and say, "Hi, I'm blah, 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 and can you show me around?" There'll be somebody there to show you around and sit you down, give you a cup of coffee.
They're not cliquey.
No.
A lot of these places they're very cliquey. If you come in from new, nobody associates with you. They don't talk to you. They got their little bunch that's over here, a little bunch over here. They don't do that there. They're even nutcases like myself.
Yeah.
They tolerate me.
So, hopefully we'll see some new faces up there.
Yep.
And the third Wednesday of each month, we're going to have a lunch up there. And I think it's, for the most part, going to be pizza and from Norfolk House of Pizza from Nick. and they'll have trivia afterwards.
Yep.
And you're welcome to come up, see the place, sign up. It's going to cost you, though,
Yep.
$1.
Where can you go for lunch for $1?
For $1. Now, we ask that you join the Friends, and an individual, it costs you $3 to join the Friends, or $5 as a couple. And after that, the lunches are $1.
Yep.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see some of you folks up there. And there's trips.
Yep.
And there's a lot of good things happening up there. We'll have a Christmas party. We'll have a Thanksgiving luncheon.
There'll be a Halloween party up there.
Yep. So if you're of the age, please give some consideration to dropping up and seeing us.
Yep.
Okay.
That was our
Now-
that was our public service announcement.
That's right.
We did good deed.
Get gold stars for that.
Yes, betcha.
Hey, I got another shout out to Marilyn Callahan Book, who watches our show. And I went to school with Marilyn and her sister Althea. And gosh, I hadn't talked to Marilyn for a good many years. And she watches our show every week.
Good.
And so, Marilyn, thanks a lot. Tell your neighbors and friends, too. By the way, it was nice of the Chinese to send a message to our government telling us to mind our own business about the internal affairs in China. But I think that might have been done for Chinese consumption as much as anything else.
Of course, you got to remember that China, Japan, there's an Asian mentality. It's called saving face.
Absolutely.
That is more important often than what real life is. You save face no matter what you do.
Yep.
You don't want to back the Chinese into a corner where they're going to be embarrassed.
Exactly.
Because you're not going to win, because they will not do that.
So we just didn't even comment on it.
No.
And that was the right thing to
That
do.
was.
So the Chinese have stood up to us,
Mm-hmm.
and now we get back to business again.
That's right.
Bernie Sanders would legalize marijuana, which brings up an interesting subject. In our sort of haste to legalize it, we find we have no testing mechanism for driving under the influence. It'll be great if Bernie's plan wins and everybody on the road is stoned. And I believe it's Colorado, I had some statistics, where driving impaired under marijuana jumped dramatically. They're seeing it here in this state. And we have no mechanism to test and go into court and prove they were under the influence.
Yeah, well, we really don't have a test for alcohol either. It's so ambiguous and so full of holes, these tests that they run. If you're a defense attorney, the first thing they say, do not take their test.
I know, yeah.
Just say no, because so many of them are bogus. They're just wrong. Plus, your defense in court's you're gonna die then. But also, so they don't. There's two sides of that marijuana thing. Also, there was a study. One of them that drunken driving went down when marijuana went up. So it does balance out somewhat.
Really? I wouldn't have thought that.
I wouldn't have either.
No. I would have thought that would have been an adjunct.
But it's not an
to
ad.
drinking.
It's not an ad to. No.
No.
You don't see that much.
Interesting. I never would have thought that. But anyway, Bernie should know that this whole rush to legalize this stuff is fraught with problems. And yet he's going out and saying, hey, free marijuana for the whole.
Bernie's a socialist.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yep.
Let it go. Make it free. Just everybody has everything. After all, nobody's got to pay for any of that stuff. It's all free. It's all socialist.
Two things. I am no big fan of Governor Baker.
I was more of a fan earlier than I
Yes,
am now.
I know.
I don't dislike him now, but I'm not enamored with him as much.
He's
I
he's attempting to stay relevant by not taking terribly aggressive stances that would oppose the Democratic Party
Yeah.
or the liberal bloc.
Yeah.
He's trying to govern by being a nice guy,
Yeah.
and that really doesn't work a lot.
I was a little disappointed in his posture, well, more than a little, with his posture with the state police, the scandal.
And the RMV.
Yeah, on the RMV.
Yeah.
I would have expected he would have came down with them with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, and that's when you start ripping things
Yeah,
up.
but no. We
Oh, I know.
making excuses and doing this and doing that. That upset me.
I'm still upset about that. And I got my state police folder with me, I think, but it's not in shape yet to talk about it, but I'm working on it. But he's not the strong guy, but maybe he's a hell of a lot smarter than we are.
Yeah, there's a
And-
lot of people that fit that bill, but
Well, I haven't met too many, but nonetheless.
there's some out there.
Maybe he realizes this is the only way that he can stay relevant in this state.
I think he's got to tread quite softly because he's of the different ilk than the rest of the state. The rest of the state is all blue and he's red.
He's a businessman,
Yep.
and they're not. Yeah. So, one thing he did, he took a strong stand on vaping.
Yep.
Now, so there was a poll here in Massachusetts. Do you support vaping ban as done by Governor Baker? 66% support him, 29 oppose, and 5 don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a heck of a good piece of news for Governor Baker.
Yeah, it is. That's
He made the right decision, and people realize it. I just have this quick little note. What do you think of the campaign or non-campaign or whatever it is going on in the Democratic Party? We have Carrot Top Kennedy versus Ed Markey. This is almost like World War II. After the Germans invaded Poland, the French and the English declared war
Yeah.
and did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So here they've declared a campaign, and neither one of them's doing the damn thing.
No, well,
So what do you make of all?
they're all running on their good looks and their name.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
and trying to raise money.
Sure.
But nothing's getting in the paper. There's no charges or counter charges.
Neither one has a stand that's different than the other. It's just
Neither one of them either.
I'm prettier
also
than he is, and I got
has
better hair.
the courage of their convictions
Yeah.
enough to stand up and say enough. You know,
Yeah.
they're both just they're reeds that sway in the breeze. This is an amazing deal. You would think they'd be shooting at each other, bobs back
Yeah,
and forth and all that, but it's not happening.
Nah, it's a popularity contest between
Do you
the two.
think it's possible that the Democratic hierarchy has said, like Ronald Reagan said, do not speak ill of a fellow Republican? They were both told, do not speak ill of a fellow Democrat. We got an important election, the presidential election, to win, and we don't need you two clowns.
Do I think that's
splitting the party.
possible?
Yeah.
I think that's almost a given.
Yeah. So that, I think, may be the reason why we're not seeing the excitement and the, posturing, I guess is a good word,
Yep. Oh, yeah.
with these two.
Because they're very afraid of somebody to come in and start splitting up the votes.
True story. So I've got so many little notes here. The Green Deal. ban all air travel and ban fracking. How will people get from point A to point B? Trains are as bad as planes as far as fuel is concerned. Oh, we're going to go over to all electric trains. So what are we going to do with the locomotives we have now? Oh, we'll just scrap those.
Where are you going to power the electric from?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing.
They
too.
don't-
Got to rewire the overhead wires. I mean,
How are you going to generate the electricity?
that's right. Yeah.
You're not going to generate it with solar panels
Wind.
and wind. You
Yeah.
just can't do that. Do you know that of the electricity that was generated 30 years ago, the percentage by fossil fuels as opposed to renewables is exactly the same it is yet today? After all these grids you see and all the windmills and the solar panels, the percentage has not changed
You know,
because they don't produce enough electricity.
we had the nuclear power plants back then,
Yep.
which are the most effective
That's right.
form of power we have in this country. It is totally non-polluting. How many people, folks, how many people have died in a nuclear power plant accident?
Not in this country.
0, okay? In the U.S., 0, okay? How many have died in the backseat of Teddy Kennedy's car?
More than a nuclear power plant in this country, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, this, and then with nuclear power plants, all the college professors, the little old ladies in tennis shoes that feed Canada geese, started in a campaign to shut down nuclear power plants. They're bad. They're this. They're that. They were providing non-polluting power. Shut them down. How are you going to replace it? Oh, sun and wind, I guess. Well, that's not working out.
Yeah, I'd say sun and wind and water power, they have a place. But to this day, unless there's some big technical breakthroughs, it's going to be a long time before they can replace fossil fuels.
Quebec is sitting on the biggest energy gold mine in the world, hydroelectric power.
That's got its power. That's got its problems.
Got to come down here.
It's got to get to where you're going to use
That's
it.
right. And when you've got states that will not cooperate
That's right.
bringing those power lines down, first of all, I mean, this is madness. I mean, there's got to be some sort of emergency measure that we can take for national security to bring those power lines down here from Quebec. It is price effective. It's totally renewable. It is non-polluting. It's a dream come true. Oh, we don't want that.
No, because you might see somebody in Vermont or might see a tower. Well, good God, the moose aren't going to sleep well because they
That's
saw a
right.
tower yesterday.
It's like the argument about the pipelines up in Alaska.
Yeah.
It's going to throw off the caribou.
Yeah,
in
years
the
ago,
migration.
they were all supposed to be
Yeah,
done already. They were
that's
going to die
right.
off because
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
pipeline.
They walk right under the
Well,
pipeline like it's
they made
you're not even
spots
there.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this is all madness.
all those stories that you heard years ago it was going to happen, it never happened.
No. So it's unbelievable. But I still want to know from AOC and her wandering band of knuckleheads how they're going to ban all air travel. But they're going to do it. She says so.
Yeah, oh yeah, because
Because the world's going to end in 12 years if we don't do it.
yep.
11 now years, I think it is.
Well, it's
Going to ban fracking.
that was the most that Green New Deal when they came out was so absurd. You notice that you don't quite hear parts of it once in a while now, but you don't hear they're not drinking the Kool-Aid here on the whole deal anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to make the Democratic Party drink that Kool-Aid,
Yeah,
because
geez.
none of us have forgotten all of that nonsense.
It's just ridiculous. It was.
That's right.
It was so. It
They-
was like, who thought of this?
And they're so ashamed of it, folks. They've taken the idea and put it in mothballs.
Yeah.
But we know the closet where they're keeping it in, and it's going to come rolling out next summer.
You notice Markey doesn't say a thing about that anymore. He tied on to it right away, and now all of a sudden he says, "Back off."
John's Ed's the strong, silent
Yeah.
type. Yeah. Name one accomplishment in the 100 years that he's been in Washington.
He's never owned a house in Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah.
That's one accomplishment.
That's an accomplishment.
He lived with
yeah.
his mother for all these years.
Yeah.
Or he claimed his mother's house for his residence. That's another accomplishment.
So, Dwayne, ask me something.
Yeah.
We have folks running around willy-nilly in the state. They're like Henny Penny, the sky is falling. We have got to ban firearms. We've got to take the guns away from the nuts. Then we're going to take the guns away from everybody else, too. We've got to do this. This is horrible.
Oh, we've got a lot of things we have to do.
So do you know these people? I know them.
Yeah, I know they are.
Yeah. So, you say to them, so how are the kids? Oh, do they play video games? Oh, which ones do they play? Oh, but there's shooting with guns and killing people in all of those. And you keep by score by how many bad guys you kill, and how many planes you knock down, and how many cars you blow up, killing people, guns. Yeah, but that's not real. That's their answer.
Yeah, well, that's.
I mean, we're dealing with nitwits, I know.
Oh,
but-
absolutely. We saw this. I saw this in my own family with my son and their 3 kids. They were little. They're still not. They're still early teens and late, 9, 10, 13, 14 type age. But when they were little, we were at Christmas time one time. We were at Bass Pro Shop. They had a couple of games, the video games.
Yeah.
That I said, boy, I bet the boys would like that. And my wife says, I don't know if they're letting their kids with shooting the guns and stuff. I said, no, all right. We went up to their house for Christmas, and there was nothing said. Then later I found, that, wait a minute, that's a gun. And then their mother said, well, we give them whatever they want now because we did say no guns. He says, so the boys just started shooting each other with their fingers. He said they were going bang, bang, and pretending that was a gun. If they were outside, they picked up a stick. So he said, I'd rather they sit and do a video game than fall down and put the stick in their eye. And the next time we went to Christmas there, I'm looking at their Christmas presents. I said, good God, I said, now last year they couldn't have any guns. This year they got machine guns.
Yeah.
They had those Nerf.
Nerf projectiles.
Yeah, they had one that was automatic. They turned it like a Gatling gun. I said, we've gone them completely. She said, yeah, we have. So,
The kids in the Midwest and the South and the Far West are raised on farms, a lot of them, ranches, they're open spaces. They're introduced to guns
5.
at a early age.
Early age, yep.
And they're taught properly.
Mm-hmm.
Guns kill.
Yeah, and they're dangerous.
And they're taught to handle them properly. And by banning them here, well, when you tell a kid you're not old enough to drink beer, he just wants it all the more.
Oh,
Same thing
absolutely.
with guns, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, the forbidden fruit is much more sought after than the apples that are in the apple tree in the backyard.
That's very true. That is so true. Because growing up, there was always beer in our refrigerator. All of the uncles and aunts and everybody, the whole family, they all came to your house. They had dinner, they had a beer. It was part of this thing. We grew up, my brother and I, we're 14, 15. If we wanted to go in the refrigerator and take a beer, we took one, and nobody cared. It didn't make any difference. But when we turned 18 and our peers turned 18, you could drink beer and stuff in that 18, they'd go crazy. When that 18th birthday, they'd go out and get drunk and smash their car up, or all kinds of crazy stuff, and all crazy. We never did, because we thought, why? First of all, it's cheaper to go home and take one out of the refrigerator and let the old man pay for it.
Sure.
Than spending our own money, 25 cents on it, whatever it was.
I never counted the beers in my refrigerator until the boys got around 17 or 18, and they started disappearing pretty good. And get Patrick to tell you about wiping my refrigerator out. What a lad.
We got broken into one time years ago when nothing lived here. And I noticed that they took all the beers out of the refrigerator. I said, whoa, this was not real thieves. This were kids.
The lads next door.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I listen. This is like going to confession. I listen to sports
We only
talk
got two.
shows.
We only got two to go.
All right, I'll round. This is a 2-minute story.
All right.
I listen to sports talk shows on the radio. I hate them.
Yeah.
I hate all the callers. I hate the hosts even more, but I love sports.
Yep.
So the knuckleheads on WEEI were talking about Tom Brady in an interview he did where he had a delay when someone asked him about how long you're going to play. Well, I don't know. Tom Brady will be Tom Brady.
Yep.
And the talk show host for half an hour. Why didn't he say what he really meant?
Read so much stuff and everything. It's crazy.
What did he really mean? Why couldn't he say it? This is driving me crazy. Well, they were crazy before. But so anyway, Tom Brady came out and talked about his relationship with Bob Kraft and with Bill Belichick. And it was quite an interview. And they didn't talk about it on the radio. But I wrote this: the integrity, honesty, and decency of Tom Brady is a wonderful thing. He should be a role model for every young lad growing up, for every father, and for every senior citizen. Honesty and decency cuts across all ages and is a commodity we could all use more of. Every time the social media takes a low, cheap shot at him, he grows higher in stature. Tom Brady for president, I say. I'd vote for him in a heartbeat.
Well, I don't know if I'd vote for him president, but I agree with the rest of this stuff.
Bill Belichick would be Secretary of State.
That one that would like, oh my God. You imagine?
I think we get 20 seconds left. Will Rogers was a early American humorist, passed away in 1935. He was beloved. And this is one of his, he's got a million quotes. I love this one. I hope we never live to see the day when a thing is as bad as some of our newspapers make it to be.
Amen.
The newspapers
True words.
always report the bad.
Well,
But they don't report the good. And that's what I was talking about.
Good
with
does
Tom
not
Brady.
sell newspapers, Bill.
That's right.
Bad does.
It's got to be screeching madness.
Yep.
Well, folks, I'm glad that you tuned into this disjointed mental therapy session that we held here today. And look forward to more of this sort of thing as we trudge our way through what we call life in America.
I suspect we just passed, by the time this airs, Veterans Day. But don't make it one day.
Nope.
Make every day Veterans Day.
That's right.
We owe them
Yep.
a big debt of gratitude.
And when you see one, thank them. Yep. Folks, we'll catch you next time. Be good.
Bye-bye.